All right, Rick, can we have a treasury report, please?
Yeah. All right. So I don't know where we started last month, where we're at, but I received a lot of dues in the last month and made deposits. And right now, between the PayPal account and the bank account, because I didn't transfer it from PayPal yet, because I keep forgetting to do so. We have just over 5,000. We did pay the Zoom license last month to John Kelsey, and we have round about $1,800 that we owe John Ziegler yet from stuff from last year, from the picnic and tools and other things. So that'll come out of that. So we're down. What's that bring us? A little over $3,000 in the account till we get everything paid off.
Thank you. We have some business to take care of. The Lancaster Area Woodturners open house will be at Kaufman's Kitchens right here on February 14th from 9 through noon. We just spoke of the club dues. If you've not yet submitted them, please go ahead and do so. You can hand deliver cash, which is always a nice way to do things, or PayPal, or cash, or check. If you need any further information, I can get that to you. You've probably seen this and paid it by now, I'm hoping. So today, we're going to have a demonstration on German ring turning by Tom Seiber, which has been good enough to set up all kinds of stuff for our amusement here. And I'll turn it over. Thank you.
Woohoo! All right. Let's just start with my laptop. Let's put it in slide mode. Let's go back to the beginning. I put that there. That's to remember that if I need to repeat a question so everybody can hear it, that's strictly a note for me. If you come up and look around the table, I want to start off with, because I had somebody ask me, well, what good are any of these things? And my first thought was, well, they're just as good as turning a bowl and finishing it really nice where you're never going to use it, so all it ever does is sit on a shelf. You know, so some of these things, that's about what you would do with them. You would be very happy with them, and you would set the echidna, which is an Australian hedgehog, and it would sit on a shelf somewhere. Maybe it could be a paperweight or something. But then you can get practical uses from a rather large piece of wood. I turned a bear. This will stay behind tonight. It says Lancaster Area Woodturners. Oh, if you want to be able, so they can see what I'm holding up. Which camera are we? That one?
Is that working? Yeah, now it's good.
Okay. So here's the bear. This says Lancaster Area Woodturners, that can stay behind. This one says Kaufman Kitchens, that can stay behind. I drill holes in mine to make a pencil holder or paintbrush holder, so feel free to do with these whatever you want to. When we have time, come up, take a look if you haven't already. There's ornaments. I turned a big ring. This is not one because it wasn't cut. I turned a ring of gingerbread men, cut 32 of them out, put a hook in, and when my family, nieces, nephews, and everybody got together, and we always have a pull a prize out, everybody put their name on these, pulled it out to see who got to pick prizes first and everything. So I guess you could say there are some practical uses for them.
You cut them freehand on the bandsaw? Or how would I?
Sometimes not. Sometimes if it has a tight center, I'll freehand it. I'll put some little marks while it's still on the lathe. I'll use the registry system on the mark to, mark it out. But if it has a big ring, and there'll be I think there's a slide in there. I made a little jig where it'll sit on the jig in a V. And then it'll slide on the bandsaw and cut them. And I think I do have a slide of that. So these two, please don't remove the tape because I already cut this one, but I'm going to pass it around. See if you can figure out what it is. I will promise you it's nothing that's up here. So if you look at this and you think, well, I think that's another bear. No, it's not. I promise you it's not a bear. This one, I just finished 2 days ago. I didn't cut this apart. So I'm not even sure if it's what I think it's going to be, because that's part of the fun of German ring turning, is we'll be back at the bandsaw at the end. And we'll cut this one apart, and we'll cut the one we turn apart. And we'll see how it goes. I know what this is supposed to be, but we'll find out. The other thing, when you're looking at this one, notice that there was a crack in it until I got a big hunk out of it. Now, when you're turning bowls and stuff, then you have to start making decisions. You're going to a smaller bowl, shorter bowl. If you're planning on cutting this into segments, there's no harm here. That just means you're not going to use this one segment. And you still have all these other segments that are perfectly fine. So you get a spot that's torn out, doesn't hurt anything in this, unless you were really counting on having that exact number of pieces, I guess. So take a look at those, see if you can come up with an idea of what they are. Good luck on that. Back to my computer then. I am going to make the file you see here, and some of what you see in this file, are those of you who do the Thursday morning thing, you've seen some of these slides already. I will make this available if we have a web person here. I could send them the file, and you could put it on the website. People could print it out. I did bring a few of my designs here, paper designs, if you want to grab one, if you're really interested in trying this. The one caution here that I put, different printers are different. They have that little margin. Every printer has a little magical 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/16 of an inch margin. So if you print something out on your printer, it may not perfectly match my measurements. It may be off by 1/2 millimeter or something. So you either remeasure everything or trust my measurements, I guess. You could go either way. So here we are. We're almost finished with the intro. We're going to turn the bottom face. We'll flip it, turn the top face. Final 15 minutes. We'll go to the bandsaw. You're saying, how are we going to get all this done in, an hour and 15 minutes or so? Because we're going to use what I call the Julia Childs method. For those of you that are old enough, Julia Childs was probably the first baker on TV back in the 60s. She would mix for the whole show, put it in the oven, and pull out a finished cake right then and there. So I have this done in 3 stages. I have a blank that we'll start with. We'll go about 20 minutes on this, and even if we're not finished on that face, we'll stop. I'll switch to the one that does have a finished face on that side. Put that one on. We'll work on that second face for about 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes. If we're not finished, we'll stop. We'll talk about it, and then I do have one that is finished, ready to go to the bandsaw if we need it.
Except we don't have a bandsaw tonight, so we're gonna
No,
do it the old-fashioned way.
it'll cut now.
He's
will?
Yeah.
he's confident the bandsaw is going to work for at least 4 cuts.
Hallelujah. Good job.
I attended the AAW symposium out in St. Paul last June. One of the 2 major reasons I went was because I wanted to see this gentleman from Australia who turns these rings. And so much of what you see here is my adaptation of his method. There's some of his work.
That's pretty cool.
I couldn't find the one he had out there, and it went for a couple $1,000s, I think. It was called Lady in Red. It was multiple pieces that were so accurately cut, they fit together then and glued together. I don't have that skew talent yet, or that gouge talent yet. I've been turning about 4 years. I'm not there yet. Don't panic. Again, you can see the file once we can get it uploaded. But here's just a few items. Accuracy is important. The shape we're doing tonight, we can cheat a little bit. If you take a little bit too much off one face on one side, it isn't going to suddenly cut into the bottom face. We have some wiggle room on this shape. But on most shapes, you don't have a lot of wiggle room. I prefer millimeters just simply because it's easier for me to count to 10 than it is to count by 30 seconds on my other caliper. So I prefer millimeters. Some other things there, calipers. You'll see all these other things being used here as we go along. Some of you have already seen, I like to do computer stuff too, so my designs are rather elaborate. I pick my shape, print it out, do a lot of measuring, then transfer the measurements back on here. You don't really need to do that. There are a few advantages of doing that, but that would be just as good. That's the bear. That's the original bear design. Print it out, reflect it so that you have some idea of how the distance between the two noses and the distance where you're going to connect your chuck. The chuck will get mounted to somewhere, maybe from this heel over to this heel. So you need to do it, but that's what I enjoy doing that, so I just spiff it up a little and add all the measurements on that way. Not bad. Pretty close. Pretty close. Here's one of the benefits of design. I've done enough designs now that I can take my boundary and I can just go to another picture, grab that boundary and put it on a new slide, and I know exactly how to fit the shape in there then. So that this one, I would go to this. If I have a 2-inch piece of wood, maybe it's 1 11/16. That says plus, so that's an old carpenter's thing of saying it's a smidge more than that, but less than the next one, saying it's a plus. Design considerations, you've already heard me say it multiple times. You have to plan where the chuck is going when you're ready to flip it over. I'm lucky enough to have a really big chuck, so when we're done with this, we'll flip out the chuck to the bigger one. You'll hear me repeatedly say, do not start on the outside corners. Your initial mount, anything, we're using a screw chuck. As long as your center is big enough, you could use whatever method you want. I noticed on Richard Raffin's stuff lately, he's been doing a lot of Forstner bit. He drills a hole and then uses the regular chuck to mount right away instead of mounting it temporarily, cutting it, and then remounting it. Basic tools. Pretty much the top tools are the ones, parting tool, couple gouges, which now we're almost ready to turn, but that brings me to the important part. Had you ever been in my classroom, you would have noticed that I always wanted my students, I've solved enough equations in my lifetime. I didn't have to go to the board and solve an equation. They should be at the board so I can be out walking among the masses and stuff. So same thing tonight. Somebody who's confident with a small parting tool is welcome to come up here and do the parting tool part. And that's pretty simple. It'll come down to, we'll start out, we'll put a mark on here, and I think it's 5 millimeters. We want to put a 5 millimeter at a couple different spots here. And so, nice, safe thing for somebody to volunteer for.
I'm auto.
What's that? Did I hear?
I'm auto.
Oh, gouges, couple size gouges. If you've ever wondered, if you've ever seen the Carter handles, when I was out at AAW, you always buy stuff when you're out of those kind of things. I was fascinated. This is heavy, but I like it. It's so well balanced. Little 3/8 inch gouge. If I were going to do the work on here, I would probably use this one more than anything. But if you're curious and say, oh man, I'd like to try that just to try it, well, then you could volunteer to use the gouge. And beyond that, sometimes if you have something that has grooves in it, yes, you might use your skew chisel to come up and cut that tight. Instead of having a U shape, have a nice V in it. But that all comes down to the design you have.
Hey Tim,
Yep.
why do they call it German wood ring turning?
Well, according to the history according to Simon Begg, what the story he told, and he had a couple pictures, the Germans way back when would carve toys for their children. But it turns out that when you're really good at this, you can turn this, cut it, and hand it to the carver. And the carver then will round off everything and finish the product. But a good turner who turns these all the time can turn maybe, like I think I can get about 32 out of one of these. So they can get 32 wolves real fast. And then just give them to the carver finishes it, and those are the toys for the kiddies way back when we had wooden toys. So that's where it comes from. And that being said, where is it? I did a turtle. This one, I don't carve. This would look so much better, though, if the shell was carved into it. I mean, it looks like a turtle and everything, but this would just really stand out if, the shell and stuff was carved into this one. Now, that's not quite the same carving that the Germans did, but still, there is opportunity there. Other tools we might use. You will see I'm not a big fan of the paper templates where as you're turning you use them. They don't fit well unless you have something that has symmetry, and I'm not a big fan of symmetry for turning these. This would be okay for the Christmas tree, but beyond that, I'm a big fan of sneaking up on it by turning, measuring, turning, using my pin gauge, checking on my paper, turning a little more, checking, turning a little more, checking. I like that method. The plastic ones, too fat. They don't give you the accuracy you need, so you really do want the metal pin gauge for this. Gives you better accuracy.
Do your measurements conform to the pin thickness on the contour gauge?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I've never thought about trying to max that up. I'm pretty much, and tonight we won't even be that accurate, but I try to go to 0.5 millimeters as best I can, on some of them. Some of them require that kind of delicacy. And again, some of them don't. You have some wiggle room on them. Catalpa is what we're turning tonight. Oh. Here's our blank. Important to have your blank square. We need a square blank because we're going to, a lot of times when you approach something, first thing you want to do is turn this. that's pretty much the last thing we're going to do here, because we're always going to be measuring off of this edge when we're turning this. Flip it, we're going to be measuring off of this edge. And if we turn this first, it becomes a guessing game then. I'm trying to guess, well, that's about right here. So this is actually the last thing we turn, these two edges. This edge before we flip it, that edge at the very end. So it's important to have your blank squared up. And of course, flat. So here's what we're turning. First thing we'll do, we're going to cut in with the parting tool into here. That's over here, it says that's 5, so we'll go 5 millimeters here, 5 millimeters here, 5 millimeters here, 5 millimeters there. And you notice I'm going to leave this square. That's for mounting the chuck. When we flip it, we can sand that off later once we cut it into pieces. You can round that back of the heel off if you want to, if you think you need to. All right, so there's where we're started. That means right away we're ready for that person or persons who are ready, who's ready for the parting tool. Who do we have here? If this was my classroom, I would have brought a dice. I have a 30-sided, a 48-sided, a 120-sided die, and everybody's gotten a number. I'd have rolled your number if I didn't get a volunteer. But I thought we were a little more mature than what you need for 14-year-olds. Okay.
I'm 14 and a half.
Okay, well then I didn't need the dice for you. So, here we go. I'll hold this up so you can see it. We're going to put some marks on here first. So, I'm going to measure. Let me see if I can get a little closer to the camera here for this.
What are we paying for?
I'm going to measure in 19 millimeters, put a mark. Measure in 36 millimeters, put a mark. Put a mark at 57, put a mark at 74. All right, now one thing I do not do in my shop, that's a vicious lie. I did it one time on Saturday just to see if it would work. We are going to put those marks on there, but then we are going to use a Sharpie. You're saying, well, that's not very accurate. Well, you're right, that's not very accurate. But I think it's going to show up to the camera a lot better. So we'll put the mark, and then on the side that we want to cut, I'll put the Sharpie mark. And I just think for camera purposes, I'm hoping that shows up because I'm just not convinced the pencil mark would show up very well. So for this one, we're not, and this one, we're only cutting a parting spot in there. We're not getting anywhere near that edge. All right, so let me get the other marks on there. That was 1936. And it is important to pay attention. The first time I did one of these, I put all these marks on here, and I was so happy and everything, and I grabbed the parting tool, and I started parting, if that's the proper verb for that. And I realized I was actually parting the foot off. I was parting on the wrong side of the line. So this is why you have bunches of pencils. What do I do with my pile of pencils? Yeah.
There's something with the bear up front.
Well, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. The bear has some. So this one, so this will be on the inside. This is, so it's going to get cut in here. 74. So this gets cut. So both parts will be on the inside there. One last run.
A little too far. It's supposed to color inside the lines.
74. Let's try this. Okay, so we're not going to go very deep here. We're only going to go 5 millimeters. Sometimes,
That's this many. It's that many. That's about a quarter inch.
you know, so, yeah.
And it's less than it's less than
Sometimes you
Less
notice,
than that.
you'll hear me talking about a measurement and I'm looking at the, this is a metric gauge. I'm looking at the metric and I'm setting it, and other times I come down here and I measure it off the picture, and that's because the picture is where I got the measurements to begin with. So either way, so we want to cut that, and we're cutting in that direction. So we're cutting that side, that black, in between here, and right out there. 5, 5, 5, so that's that much.
Yeah.
Just enough to form that. So, I do have a face shield if you want one. I'm standing back. Yeah, I guess you guys have it too.
Are they going to all be the same depth?
All of these will happen to be the same depth. Yeah.
Get that light on.
So we're going outside.
Your first one's outside. You're always cutting the Sharpie off. This is one of those things, once you get the first one and you get a feel for the depth, you could go smidge deeper, whatever that, another millimeter. You do turn their lathe off and on a lot. Oh, that's perfect. So now this one, you're going in here and in here. And then this one, you're coming out. Could smell that was just the right amount of sawdust. Let's go that one. Let's go that one a little deeper, and that one the proverbial smidge. Again, on this particular design, we do have some latitude. On some other designs, yeah, we're worried about too many smidges here and there. For us, the only real critical item here, without going too wild, is going to be in here where the nose is. Because we want, when we flip that over and start cutting in, we want that nose to match. We don't want the one nose to be in towards the center 4 or 5 extra millimeters, or else the nose is deformed. All right, perfect. Oh, now you're not done yet. Jeez. 85. We're going to cut one more deep one here. That'll be enough for the Sharpie. this one we want, and this will get you. You do have wiggle room here in the sense we're going to cut it away anyways, so you can make your slice wider, you know, with the parting tool. We want to go 20 deep. So again, on the shape here, we're cutting down. We're cutting this right here. So we're going to create basically this, and that'll help guide us when we're ready. Well, not we, when one of you use the gouge to cut the nose. But that gives us that starting point. It also gives us, when we're ready to make this sweep here, it gives us that sweep, right? But I measured the wrong way. We're coming from the bottom right now. We want 19. Lucky I was
Like,
lucky.
wow, Rick, that's going to be
Yeah.
a talent.
So we're cutting down to here.
That reverse hook parting tool thing.
Yeah, that would have been, well, again, that's why we have,
Hey, Tim,
yep.
have you ever actually turned one of these, or do you always get somebody else to turn these?
Oh, I've turned all those, but, so we actually want 105, or 103.
Tim, since all these cuts appear to be perpendicular to the flat face, have you ever given a thought to having like a depth control slide on your
Oh,
on the parting tool?
you know, I haven't. I do have a magnet I use for my, my square scraper when I'm doing some stuff like that on bowls, but I never thought about doing that on there. I'm glad I showed up tonight. I'll take that idea home. So, cut, you're going to cut from here over to here, and we're going 19.
We're cutting the.
So we're cutting in here. Here, let me mark it all out. We'll get to this. So in here, we want that to be 19. So
Okay.
we could use the gouge to get that part way, or you can use the parting tool. It's about there, I think, if I remember. It's a little past. Here, let me. What do you do? Pull it out. You could, actually, if you were a fan of using Forstner bits, you could drill, you know from your plan exactly how far apart the two noses are. You could, in fact, drill that out if you wanted to. I've never tried that, but I thought of it and thought, oh, that'd be one way to do it. Can you hear the excitement back there of who's coming up for the gouge next?
Yeah.
Because you're almost finished.
That's right.
Ever so slightly more.
Okay.
Half a millimeter. So now we could, if you want to stay, we could use the parting tool and finish hollowing between the legs out, just using the parting tool, or we can use the gouges. Up to you.
I think it's somebody else's turn.
Okay. Somebody else's turn. Who wants to come up and do a little gouge for us? Anybody?
Hey, Tim. Question.
Yeah.
Are you using a thin parting tool or a diamond parting tool?
It's thin.
This is a thin 1/8 inch, I think. Yeah, this is an 8/8 inch.
So what's the drive? Is there a reason for that, or is that just having what you had?
That's just the way I style. It's almost like when you turn something spindle turning, where you use a parting tool just to get your depths to guide your curves along. So that's just what I have, and that's what I use.
I have this cue, so I can't do it.
Why?
I just had a shoulder replacement.
Okay.
I haven't really been done any turning for a couple months.
Come on. Come on.
Keep talking to them.
Yep, yep. All right, who's coming? Curtis. Come on. Come on. It's simple.
I got
You're all right. John. Come on. Community involvement.
And remember, you can't make a mistake here because we have the Julia Child. So even if we blew something apart here, we just take it off and go to the next stage.
Yeah.
So, let me clear this off a little. We're down there to 19.
You had a hard time up at Susquehanna too. Getting volunteers.
Well, I'll admit I know a couple of those people a little better. So, like Toby, man, I don't know if he's even online, if he ever shows up to these. But I just sort of said Toby, and he came over. He was nice to me and stuff. So I know a few of those people better. I can, talk them into it.
Oh, we do. We're desperate for it.
So yeah, it's just like Pearson, just a little different.
I can hear you back here.
Except for the part where it's
Hey, Thomas, I've never seen you turn before.
Exactly.
Here's your opportunity.
Yeah, just slightly different.
Anything for at least
Hold on, it's not that scary, really. You recognize Curtis? How about you, Keith? What's that? Oh, okay. Come on. I like watching. How about you, man? Come on.
Keith and I were already pre-prepared.
Okay.
Nobody wants to see it.
we don't have
My
to look
hat
at you,
in
we
the
can just
car.
look at the gauge.
You left your hat in the car. I was gonna say, yeah, I almost didn't recognize you.
I don't have my glasses, so I can't even see what I'm doing. Because you're a new member.
Yeah.
Okay.
What am I supposed to do?
All right, I'll show you. This is going to be just a basic outside. You're going to sweep from this parting mark. You're going to make a sweeping gouge, but you need to come up a little short because we need to allow for the nose.
Mike, he always comes.
So, and this is the depth. You're aiming to get to there. So you're going to make a sweeping turn, but you want to come up a little short.
We were going to do a ring turn.
We need to put the nose like that. So it's just.
I thought we were going to do a ring turn on the Lancaster
Yep.
Slice up a biscuit.
Pencil mark.
Every kid wants a toy of the Lancaster area.
This is the skinny. Skinny moves.
Every state you can.
Well, this is one.
Alaska would be Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii would be very interesting.
This is
You need to start off in Wyoming or one of those places.
South Dakota.
So I'm going from this here,
Yep.
Nevada was
We're going from that depth.
that's the bottom of the depth,
The bottom of the depth here.
to there.
Yep.
Got it.
And a nice little sweep.
This is bowl oriented. Okay. Are we ready to start?
Oh yeah.
Have I stalled long enough? First, I'm going to get rid of the excess wood. And not to bugger up the edge. Okay. I'm cutting the wrong way, but that's the only way to get into that corner without boogering it up.
Yeah, we do end up doing some good shear scraping.
You didn't say shear scraping.
I said you do
Oh
something.
my God. Pick it up yet? There we go.
Nice. Stop there.
Well, I'm not done.
Oh yeah, you're done right now. You're not done, but you're done till we check it. It's time for this to see where we are.
I don't think I got a good sweep.
He's been doing it for about 28 years. About 5 different companies.
We'll look before we let them see.
No, show it.
No.
Yeah, so we want to go
There's a lot more
deeper.
to go.
Yeah, because you're coming into that.
Well, you didn't tell me.
You're coming into this mark here.
The electronic side of it.
There's the depth mark.
Oh, I thought it was back here. I'm sorry.
Well, you turn. I'll distract them for a minute. So you can get. I can't see when I'm lined up. So you can see he has a little more of the little deeper on the nose to go, out by the nose. And we haven't touched that outside corner yet.
I'm going all the way down to here.
Yep.
That's my mark.
Yep.
Oh, okay. It's gotta be perfect.
So now make it right in here. steep. Just do that little part yet and leave me just a little bit. Leave me a couple millimeters out here if you can, but make this steeper. And then we'll stop there. Again, the downside of this is, we don't have 3 hours to get too tedious with it. Particularly on those inside, like if you look at the wolf up here, or I forget the other one. I got so frustrated trying to get that middle just right, I just walked away for a while and came back later in the day because you're just trying to get that inside piece.
I mean, I understand.
Oh yeah.
I can see your shape here.
Yeah, you can see the shape on the outside. So I think we're gonna stop that right there. See if I can move it. He's much closer. I can't see the. Well, the nose isn't actually turned yet. He was supposed to leave just a little part there to put a little groove in it.
A little bit more.
But we're done because we unless you guys want to be here till 10, 11 o'clock, and I doubt if you do. So, thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll go to the outside corner and then we'll stop on this one and we'll go to the next piece. You could take this home though and finish it.
No, I thought we were doing the outside corner.
Well, I'm going to do the outside. Just to prove I can.
Not getting away that easy, Mike.
What a letdown. One small curve took you like 10 minutes.
Really getting into it.
The outside corner, we need to go 13.
Gouge out of your hand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, you didn't see it.
And you're not going to be able to see this anyway, so I won't put the Sharpie mark on. And that's all we need. Wow, do I have a big head.
You know, it's a very tiny head. Thin head, thin hand.
Comment?
So we go a little more here. We would do that shape design again. Or you could.
You can stay there, I'll zoom. I can zoom in.
Can you?
Yep.
So we would do this piece yet. We're not going to. We'll switch items. But we would do this. That'll bring us basically to the center here. But we don't want to touch this corner until we flip it. That's our measuring spot when we flip it. We do need to cut in the tail. The one other thing we didn't do here, we would take the gouge and we would round off and cut in to get better looking feet. Again, we would leave that one square though for the chuck. And again, we can take care of that later then. So we will call that finished. I was serious, somebody that wants this one then can have it. They can take a plan home. They can put it on a screw chuck, finish that side off, that face, and keep practicing. So somebody can have that later. Now I might need some help here. I need wherever the lock is, so we can take this chuck off. Notice safety. I even put that set screw down there. Maybe it didn't. I wasn't. Anybody know where the lock is?
Who knows? Do you know where to lock the Powermatic so you can take the chuck off?
Oh, he's like Superman. I was lucky enough to get this chuck when I bought my Nova lathe at the show a couple years ago, 3 years ago now. They left you pick any chuck off of their table. And the person, I mean, the Nova guy couldn't have been any better. He said, well, what's your plans? I said, well, I want to go to the bigger lathe. I want to be able to turn some bigger things. So he walked over and grabbed this one. He said, then take this one. So I did, and I'm glad I did.
Is that made by Nova?
This is a Nova chuck. All right, so.
Yeah, I was thinking 20.
You zoom into this a little bit. Let me see if I can lift it up onto my shirt a little. You can see the tail is here now. Everything on that one face is finished now on this one. There's a little bit of a nose in there. Here's our gouge expert. Here's our parting tool expert. So this one's ready to flip. In my world, we'd say reflect, but you know, what are you going to do? One thing about Nova chucks, though, I have a smaller chuck and it tightens the other way. It's just irritating when I switch chucks.
The more recent ones.
I did not bring that one with me.
That's why you gave that one away.
The older chucks turn the.
No, that's why that one stays on the original little mini lathe I have. That one stays over there. I never got rid of that.
On the older trucks, they've got an arrow that says in and out on it, so it's really easy just to look at it and say.
That would be as easy as looking at the arrow on my gas tank for my two different vehicles to remember which side the opening was, because they do have a little arrow there on it if you've ever seen it. But I always forget I know where they are.
Well, that was designed to make it idiot-proof, so I'm not sure if that
didn't work for me. When I turned this one, I will warn you ahead of time, this came off of a partner board to the bear. And if you noticed, when I turned the bear, I discovered there was a hole inside of it that did not appear anywhere. It does make for, I think it makes the bears interesting, to tell you the truth. And you know, the one is perfect. If you hold it one way, it just looks like it has a gunshot in it, and then you flip it around the other way, and it has a big blowout on it. This one does have a crack here, so we may discover something inside of this one a little bit. The crack itself, if that's all it is, it won't matter because, again, we're rounding this off. The crack will be gone by the time we round the top of the hedgehog. Or it'll fly. But I don't think so. And I didn't know that was there until I went to the bandsaw. You know, the one bear did lose its one leg, though. It cracked. All right, so let's go back and look at this for a second. Actually, switch over, if you can, switch to my plan, and I'll just point at it on there. This will be last, the corner, but when we'll cut in, our parting tool expert will cut this corner in. That gives us a reference point to make a nice sweeping turn here and a nice sweeping turn here. That's the purpose of cutting that little corner out. It gives us a nice reference point. But that's last. We'll start here, we'll cut in here, make a nice sweep down through here. We're not worried about the fur, whatever you want to call it. That's actually the last thing we'll do. That's as easy as just using the gouge and cutting in. That doesn't take much to do that. And since it's supposed to be an imitation of an animal, you don't have to worry about perfect, everything perfectly lined up. You can just put some pencil marks on there and do it. So we'll cut into this depth.
To the bandsaw.
Not yet, but that's what it told us to do. We'll cut in 20. We'll make this sweep. If we cut into 39, hopefully that's where the the nose is.
You mean if Mike didn't mess it up?
No, this is now mine. His is here to be given away. If this is messed up, it's because I messed it up. So see, that's why you guys are we're always off the hook. You didn't have to worry about it.
Mike has an uncanny way of making others mess up. So.
Oh well, so he was like mind melding with me when I was turning this. So we want. Let me find the measurement here. 85. We want 85. And 103 is the tip of the nose. It does help. I mean, I went as big as I could here, diameter-wise. It is a little easier on some of those that have the bigger center circle, hollow spot in. It's easier to cut those in and stuff just because you have more room to work. You're not necessarily wasting wood, though. If you're careful, you can part it out, and then you have a little piece of, this is from one of those over there, you have a little piece of wood left over, you can turn a bowl out of it, or I don't know. Or somebody could do what I said before most of you got here. I would love to see somebody do a miniature of one of these. I'm looking at Doug now because I've seen some of his miniature work. A little miniature one of these would fast. I don't have the skill, but.
Give it here.
Huh? There, take this.
You don't have any round blanks at your house,
No.
I think that's Sapella.
He wants me to do a miniature of the hedgehog.
Oh, then, well, you can pick one of my designs. I have a pig up here. I forget what else I brought up here.
I'll make a little baby hedgehog.
Yeah.
hedgehog.
That'll be fascinating. I'd love to see that. So 103, there's the mark.
Did you make it fit on your stool sample?
There's the guy who's giving it.
We want to go in 20. So we're going in 20. So we have a long way to go. So we'll just cut some of that out. Volunteer, we're just going to hollow this out down to about 20 millimeters, and then we'll fine tune it. Anybody? 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 Anybody?
Everybody's shy.
What do you want? This one, this one? We're going to hollow that out with a gouge. You know, you want to end up at 20 millimeters, but that's a long way to go, so we can do a lot of hollowing. See, I just have a big head, I guess.
No, Rick's just got a tiny little head.
So we're going,
So we call them pinhead.
all of this is coming out,
All of that's coming out.
and we want to end up at about 20 millimeters when we're done.
Right here. Like this line.
On this line right here.
With everything inside.
Everything inside we want to get down to, so right now, this is what we're doing. We're doing this right here.
That's it. Okay.
The whole way into the center. See, now you know how I taught for 47 years of math, because you're right. I mean, with this kind of style, you know, I could teach all day long this one.
You do mostly ring turning?
I can't hear you.
You do mostly ring turning.
Mostly ring turning, or do others?
No, I have, well, ring turning I have stuck with longer than anything. I've only been turning 4 years, so I've done basic bowls, little fancier bowls where I was looking for like what I'll call a pottery, more of a rounded pottery bowl. I've done basic pens, epoxy pens, so I've done a little bit of a lot of stuff. Just that I spent more time on this than I have on anything.
So if you were doing this in your shop, how long would it take you to turn?
What's that?
If you were doing this head top in your shop, how long would it take you to turn?
I timed the one that's finished, and I was rushing to try to make it more fitted than one. I can do the head mold. The bear, surprisingly enough, was time consuming, but if you want to take a close look at it, you'll see I needed a hollowing tool to get in there to the toes, and that was just irritating to get that to the point I was satisfied. And the noses, the interior part of the wolf, the bear, some of those have got the more exotic noses. You tend to my understanding, that's actually how it's done. They didn't go to a bandsaw or anything with the grain running that direction. They just took a knife and split it. Because of the orientation of the grain. I've never tried
Have you seen Simon Eagle and some other where he's got, he slides them together?
I'll tell you, he was nice. He was nice to talk to. Really comfortable. That and, well, the lady in red is just incredible. And again, I'm not that.
He's done some three-piece ones now.
Yeah. He has a dolphin that has.
Oh yeah, the great. He has a ton of penguins. Black and white.
No, I haven't seen that.
I do.
How you doing up there? I was busy.
Yeah, you're back there chatting.
I was talking to the students.
He turns it into a polar bear.
We pay the demonstrators more, they'd probably do more turning.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, that's actually pretty good. That's at about 19. And we're getting, you probably can't pick it up on the camera, we're actually getting to an important point here. We can see the holes. We're close. So that tells me that if that other side is turned to the proper measurements, we're in there pretty close to where the nose is. So let's just, yeah, you want to do that. You want to, no, that way it's my fault. If it,
Well, it don't matter.
I'm going to just make that hole a little bigger. It is nice to have a hole in the center big enough that you can get these calipers. Because boy, they're nice and accurate. You can feel if something's round and everything. That hole's big enough you can get that in there and you can feel around a little bit. And oh yeah, it's there. It's about back here, which is about where it should be. So that starts to give us our target because we're now looking at making a nice sweeping turn here. So we're going to try to sweep this off a little bit. Not much because you see how steep it is. All right. So we just want to sweep this down. Very steep and then flatten it out a little, but you want to make sure you come up short. That's about where the nose is. Mm-hmm. Can get a little closer there. See your target a lot better now. Right there's the nose. So So ultimately, we want to sweep come down steep and then start to flatten out and end up a little short because we need to make the nose round. So this is going to stay really steep. You're just going to take a little bit off, and then when you get down to here, flatten it out like that.
So this is, alright. So
Feel the nose.
So I need to come back in here just a little bit.
Right, so we can get that rounded ball part, so we don't want to sweep it the whole way. We'll do one side of the hedgehog so we can see how to cut the fur in. If you're at, we're almost 10 after 8, like that's the time. I might want to stick it in. And then we'll take so that'll be the I can't see, so you have to look at the smiles on people's faces over there. So this will be another one somebody can have and take home. And you obviously need that big chuck. You need a big chuck.
Well, we get to take the truck too?
See, he's gotten serious now, hasn't he? Yeah, that's pretty good. I can feel the nose. We'd probably go a little deeper, but again, I think we'll stop there so we have time to we're going to do this sweep here. So that sweep is 20 millimeters deep from here. So we're targeting that. Did my when I was in the back talking about this stuff, I did mention, in case you didn't hear it, like the bear, if you look at the bear, the feet were time consuming and you almost need a hollowing tool to get in. And those are all the things, that's why this shape is so much easier to start with. You don't have any of those issues to deal with. So where is that? That's at 43. So we are making a big sweep now. So we are targeting from here, making a sweep, and you notice it's pretty consistent. It's, you know, and we want to end up by just cutting. So we're cutting the Sharpie off on both ends, but it's a sweep in there. take the only thing we have left to do on this part, we would, we need to come in here and round this off a little. We need to go a little bit deep here so we can come up and round this off to make the nose. You can actually feel where, right here, I mean, the nose from the other side is right there. You can see that on the camera at all. Use the Sharpie, maybe that'll show it a little better. I mean, the other half of the nose is right there. So we're right there on it. So let's just take. I don't want to cut this side off here because again, somebody wants to take this. Again, you're gonna. Actually, I don't know if you use the 2 inside feet. You might. I don't know. Probably not. I was gonna say you might be able to get a little bit smaller chuck in there than this 5-inch one. But we'll cut something in here. Again, these, when we cut the fur marks in, you could measure them out, but being fur and everything, you wouldn't expect them to be perfect. So you just come through and mark some. If you switch to my plan for a second,
John,
to the computer, you notice I have over on the right-hand hedgehog, you might notice I have little reminders about which way I should be cutting. Because sometimes, with this anyways, I get so focused on measuring and everything, I sometimes I realize I'm cutting sort of the wrong direction. So, let's do this one. That's not deep enough, but that gives you an idea. You're just going to go around. I have found that it's like learning to turn bowls. You start out too thick, and even when you think it's thin enough, you realize later on it wasn't as thin as you thought it was. Same deal with this. The first couple of these I think, oh, well, that's deep enough, that's fine. And then I would realize later, nah, when I cut it on the bandsaw, it's not nearly as deep as I thought it was.
That's when you hand it to the German carvers.
Well, that's right. The German carver can then fix that. But these should be, I don't have a measurement for them, but on here they're about 3 millimeters, and see I'm only 1.5 millimeters or so right now here. So I need to pretty much double the depth of that. So we'll stop there. Oh, look, you did such a fine job. Boy, you're fast.
Yeah.
I was asked, this took me about 2.5 hours. I will admit the catalpa is easy to turn, and it actually sands out. It's a little rough, but that sands out pretty nicely. Catalpa is if we go back to the slide about catalpa, it's only got that magical little hardness Jenga scale, and it's under 600. So it's very soft wood, relatively speaking. You get into some of the other ones, things slow down. I have something up there is made out of just some incredibly hard maple. And I swear I spent as much time stepping back here, just like back here behind my leg, as I did up here at the lathe. It just seemed like I was constantly stepping back to the grinder to fix that. So we're ready. We're going to cut this. I did bring, somebody asked me about a sled. I did make this up yesterday. This is not the sled I use because the sled on my bandsaw has runners on to fit my grooves, and it has a 120-degree angle right here. 2 boards, and that way that centers everything up for me. This is more just to push for this. But before we do that, we need some answers. We passed around the 2 mystery items.
What are they?
But one of those is going to get cut in a minute. Where they're back there. The one I had already cut, I'll take the tape off of it.
Just let it just go.
Anybody care to guess? Anybody care to guess what the one with the tape on is?
Is that a reindeer? Is that a reindeer?
Rabbit.
Rabbit? I heard a reindeer.
There.
A bear. Well, we have a winner. I mean, I called it a moose, but I think reindeer is fine. I only called it a moose because it had sort of rounded antlers as opposed to pointy.
Your skin tone's too similar. You can't see it. Your shirt.
Now, this would be another one similar to how I use the gingerbread men, where I said I made a ring, cut them into 32, and had all the members, nieces, nephews all put their name on them, so when we're drawing, this would be, or I hung some of these on my Christmas tree at home, could put something in here. Something in here, you could turn these into little ornaments or something. This clearly would be something the German carver could tidy up as a toy.
When you cut them into wedges, are you always cutting them into a wedge, or do you sometimes cut them parallel?
I'm going to do that someday, but I haven't yet. I think that was a question when I showed some of these on the coffee hour on Thursday.
Sander, belt sander.
Somebody asked me about that. That does remind me, though, I don't think I mentioned, orientation is important because it is a wedge. So this little gingerbread man made out of cedar was oriented this way. So the wedge goes different. That would make a big difference if you turned a Christmas tree, because you would want, I would assume anyways, you'd want it oriented this way, so that when you cut the wedge, the top of the tree was smaller, as opposed to this way, where the side, one side of the tree would be smaller. And again, the bigger the center, the less of an exaggeration you get on your wedge shape.
Because you could orient that in 3 directions, right? You could orient the head to the inside of the head to the outside, the needle would be bigger or smaller.
Yeah, this one has a lot of options for chucking. So you can chuck in the on the hands, you can chuck in the feet. So yeah, something like this. Now, some things you just don't have that many ways to chuck. So who said reindeer? Here's your reindeer. Okay, now let's go back and cut these. Where's the other one? The other one, I've never turned that shape, and I know what it's supposed to be. But.
Can we get this in close enough for you so you can take a picture of it?
We'll,
Next month, you gotta come back with an emu.
what's that?
E-race, emu, you gotta go back.
Oh.
You got it there?
Yeah, as long as I can get to the front. Clearly, the blade, if you're looking for really nice cuts with not a lot of tear out, the blade on your different. That's in part why I made this for tonight. Having something like that will help. It won't help the little innie. That's not going to help tear out on that, but it will help tear out on some of the other ones. All right, so we're going to start with this one. Anybody on what this hopefully is?
I have no idea. Figure?
A what?
A figure, a woman?
A figure, a woman, like with maybe a dress or something on, or maybe a hula skirt, or no.
Just a regular skirt.
Huh? Anybody else? Well, we'll see.
How about a duck?
A what?
Duck.
A duck?
You're gonna have to raise the throat.
Oh yeah. He's trying to trick me there.
I said I needed a bandsaw, I didn't say it had to be in working order.
You guys don't know
We are lucky they got that fixed hopefully enough maybe we should, well, no, either way, it's ones that I turned. I was going to say we should start with the other one. So. Reindeer pattern, that one matched up to the pattern like you saw on some of those other ones I had sitting up there. If you put that reindeer up in the pattern, it came out very nice. I was very fortunate. That was a good piece of wood also to use. Ooh, I'm happy with it.
Penguin?
That's a penguin. A fat penguin. And you say, I'll have to go online and look. You said he had
He has some black and white.
black and white penguin. Segmented, or
I
did
think
he
he
do?
might even have done the nose in like Osage or something. I think he might have done the beak in that.
Oh, well, he's just showing off.
Yeah.
I guess that's why they invited you from Australia to go to the. He's good. So, yeah, I'm happy with that for a first attempt on the penguin. I can see some things I would do differently. I'd make things a little thinner and stuff. The one thing nice about having the computer stuff is you can you can, like my software anyways, I can just go in there and pull it one way and it'll just make my pattern skinnier. Now I have to redo all the measurements, of course, but as opposed to hand drawing stuff. All right, here's what was supposed to be the hedgehog. Does it have one more cut in it? Who fixed that?
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Here's my other turnover. Yeah, I'll cut this up as much as anybody wants, but if the other person wants a piece.
Just a quick question. When
Yep.
you're cutting, is it better to just cut one wedge at a time, or do you cut the whole thing in half and then cut your wedges off?
When I'm using my sledded home, because it's again, it has 120 degree, I do them one at a time, because eventually you get to the point you have such a small piece you can't use the sled anymore.
Okay.
And again, for something like this, the only reason I did this, and you can see I got off there a little bit on the one cut. I mean, no, I didn't, somebody did. But with something that has such a small hole, I don't know that you even need a sled, because you can really aim towards that center point. Again, some of those other ones that have the really big opening in them, you need something to help guide you.
Is that not the right blade? See how rough that is there.
This is a rough blade.
See how rough that is there.
Yeah. What I would do is I have a thinner blade,
I don't know.
and I take them to the belt
Hedgehogs are
sander.
kind of rough.
Well, that's true. Who had, who was my other turner?
Oh,
back there.
Sorry.
Yeah, we can cut some more. Here, I cut this one. You asked about what if you cut it. You get a little bit of a, I'll show this and then.
Oh yeah, you get a.
You get a little look at the nose particularly.
But you could have done that.
Well, I could have a little
Right,
more.
yeah. You would have had to make 2 cuts. So,
Yeah. But if you cut and don't aim for the center, now you're starting to get a little profile and stuff in there. You can see the nose has a little, and maybe there'd be a reason you'd like that. I don't know. See if I can get back cutting some to center. Yeah, I didn't quite get it far enough. I got a little too far and I took the nose off.
Hey, Tim,
You turn a cake.
are there designs that you found don't work well for this?
Designs that I found, yes. When I'm looking at designs, I'm looking, again, I've said it repeatedly, I'm looking for something you can chuck, but I'm also very aware. Let me find, I thought I had the bear pattern here. Here. In the bear pattern, I modified the feet a little bit. And because here I used, and I don't have it, I'd have to walk out there to get it. You need to make sure if your gouge can't get in somewhere on the pattern, well, there isn't anything you're going to do about that once you start turning it. So if you make a pattern and you can't get your gouge, or in this case for those little feet, the tops of those feet, I used a hollowing tool, and the hollowing tool would fit in there. So yes, when you're looking at a design, you have to make sure that you can pick something, print it out, and you can play around testing to see. And if you don't have, and obviously different people have different tools in their shops, but if you don't have a tool that'll get in there, then modify the design. That is the benefit. I do occasionally use Photoshop, because in Photoshop, I can go dot, 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 dot around the shape, and then I can grab those dots and move them, and I can adjust the shape a little bit. And so if I need a little more room in something, I can move the dots around a little and make that. But yeah, I would say those are the two big considerations. Can you chuck it? And can you get your gouge in there, or whatever tool you're going to use? And if you can meet those two requirements, you're good to go. The top of the bear was easy. I mean, it's just, when I flip this around, I mean, this is just, again, you can see here, it has some of those cutout points in it, where it shows you the depth, and then from there, you know, it's just a smooth, just like you're turning a little piece of a bowl, but having those measurements is, I don't have the skill to just start at the top here and come down around here and end up there and have that curve like I want it. That's the benefit of having those little cutouts with the when I use a parting tool to get it at the right depth.
Use a flat tool and round it out.
Well, you can do that. You can, yeah.
It's easier to go that way.
Yeah. Other questions?
If you're only going to cut one segment out, to show, would you normally recommend cutting from the long grain or the short grain?
I would aim for the long grain. That's what I always do. I have a little note on some of them. I have it on mine there to remind me, like this one. This was one of the first shapes I ever did. Again, it's my math background. I thought it would be easy to design it and do it. But when I cut this in half, I made sure I was cutting with the grain. So if I'm only going to cut one piece out, I'm going to sort of aim to get as close as I can to be with the grain. Is that what you meant?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now is that because of tear out or because of cross-section presentation?
I just thought cross-section presentation would be better that way. That's how I cut all these. I don't know, where's the segmented one? That one's sort of a failure there. Oh, here. This really isn't, I'd like to make a whole chest set, but that's a whole different issue because you have symmetry. And you've seen me say, symmetry, unless you're turning like the tree, unless you're turning where this way, the other way around. Off a millimeter here, when you're trying, like in this case, let's say I want to try to do the bishop, and I'm trying to get that angle on the bishop, but I'm not getting that. That means I have to cut that exact identical angle when I remount it coming the other direction. I have one of these glued up. It's ready to, I'm going to try a bishop, but again, the symmetry inside to outside is, to me, and again, there's some people that have that skill. I'm not there yet. Hopefully someday maybe I'll be there. But
Would it be
I'm not
easier
there
to
yet.
lay it over on its side so you're matching top and bottom?
Like
What?
a Christmas tree.
Well, but then you wouldn't get, see this as a display model. I want them sitting up like this. I don't want them pointing in.
Okay.
Yes, I agree. If you take the bishop and point them in,
Right.
then yes, the symmetry, you could use a little template maybe, like the tree template I held up. Yeah, I totally agree, but I'm thinking of these as little display, a whole set of these. Notice I did maple and walnut, white and black, and so that's why I wanted to try this. But I went with the one that didn't have symmetry. I went with the knight.
But also, from a chess point of view, that knight is the one thing that you can't turn on the lathe. Every other piece you can turn on the lathe, but you know, if you took those and cut them out, then you could actually mount it and then make a round bottom on it, on your lathe. And so you'd actually have the whole set made on the lathe, which is something you can't.
True, yeah, because you tend to usually you tend to make the knight on the bandsaw a lot.
Exactly.
I mean, I've never made a set like that, but that's what you do.
Turn the other pieces on a lathe, split them in half, turn around, shove them into the hole on another piece. No one will know that.
Good point. Here was a failure. It wasn't a failure. It was quite a learning. When I said early on, I learned when I think I've cut deep enough, I haven't. This was maybe the third or fourth thing I tried. And I had this brainstorm. I would make leaves in the shape of that particular tree leaf. So the segmented piece here is, as you might guess, box elder. And so this is a box elder leaf, but you can see it just isn't deep enough. I don't have enough of an exaggeration on the leaf here. And I never went back then and did a second one. There's too many other shapes, you know. If we go to my computer for a second, I deleted a bunch of slides. I have about 90. Well, there's my chest pieces. I have about 90 different slides, but I deleted a whole bunch of them.
How many of these have you made in 4 years?
What?
How many of these have you made in 4 years?
Well, I just started making these in June after the AAW. Probably twice as many as you see here.
It's probably an irrational number.
Well, no. I'm hoping it's pi. I hope it never ends. That's what I'm hoping for. But here, why the upside down? I'd like to do a shark, but I'm thinking for chucking purposes, you would turn. This would be the side that would get turned first, and then you would chuck it here. and here.
Do you always have to have some square flat side? I mean, because you're going to chuck, or can you sand that off later, or because once you're chucked, you're chucked.
I can like on the gingerbread men. One of these was just squared off to chuck it, and then once I cut the wedges, I went to the,
Slice
and then just sanded that corner round to match. So you can, and that's true with the bear. I don't think I even sanded. You can really see it. You can see right here's where the bear was chucked. You can see how square that is. I never even sanded it round. You can see where that was chucked. So you do have some liberty there. I did do a pig. I'd like to do a duck.
Or do an inverse on some polyurethane.
I'd like to do an eagle. No, I'm not going to do the eagle where I'm going to turn the bottom, and then I'm turning the top, and then I'm turning the beak, and then they're going to all magically fit together. I'm not there yet. I'd like to do a rhinoceros. I'd like to do a zebra. Now, can you guess what kind of wood I want to use?
Zebra wood.
No, but I like that idea maybe even better than my idea.
Holly and ebony.
Some type of spalted maple so it would have all the lines in it. You know?
Couldn't you cut it? Couldn't you like glue up a blank? Ebony, maple, ebony, maple, ebony, maple.
You mean?
To make the stripe.
Glue up a blank to make the stripes, and then just.
Yes, I don't think I brought. I have one glued up. It's big round blank with. They were just 3/4 inch scraps, and I just glued it all up. Looking at that, I haven't turned anything on it yet. I think you'd really want to glue up 1/4 inch pieces. You'd want them thinner than what I did as a test piece.
Or maybe,
yeah. I'd like to do a woodpecker. It would get, this one would be a little unusual because you'd probably chuck it in here. So this has to be big enough, and your chuck has to be big enough that could sort of wrap around the chuck. There's the whole maple leaf idea. Again, Simon Begg, he has just some beautiful hummingbird stuff. He has a porpoise. Oh yeah, well that's the end. That's where I was getting my stuff for my little laser cutter to do this.
Oh, you could do a Kaufman Kitchens logo. That would be easy.
What?
You could do the Kaufman Kitchens logo.
Yeah, like 2Ks. Go back to page.
You could give it to each one of their customers. This could be a
Oh, you mean do a whole bunch of these?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well this is theirs.
No, Kaufman
No,
Kitchen.
the Kaufman Kitchens logo.
KK logo.
Oh, just the KK logo.
Yeah.
Cut the K's out.
Yeah, let me
And
think
you could
about
make it for all of their customers, and you could do that.
I think that would mount. You'd end up probably again creating a little square section, maybe right here, and then sand it off later.
Facing outward.
Yeah, I think you could.
If you do it upside down, you'd have the chuckability on the
You
top.
don't have to cut
Oh, that's
it.
true.
It's half a ring.
Yeah, rotate it around 180, and then you'd.
You cut wedges. No,
You would
no,
chuck it up on top.
Shut up, no.
Yeah.
Shut up. La, 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 la.
Okay, well I kept you late tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Who made this mess?
Good. Okay, I was just my off-center base down here. Turned it with with off-center, and the center was off-center turned as well. So I just had fun with that after the last meeting. So
Nice.
Hey Jim, I have a question.
yeah,
So is that a metallic paint on the stem?
it's iridescent.
Iridescent?
It's not metallic. It's iridescent.
Did you
I
paint
really-
it black first?
Yes, I did. I had to think a second. Sometimes I don't, but then the iridescent's pretty transparent if you don't put black under it. So I painted it with gesso first, and then painted it with iridescent on top. Yeah, that's what's behind me, by the way. It was in I made a jig I used one of my little chucks and put it on in a bolt and stuck it through a 2x4 so I could turn it as I paint it. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I love iridescent paints. Yeah.
Is that all one color? Looks like they
No.
have a green and a blue.
No, it's each one's a different color.
Okay.
The
nice.
set I have a lot of gradations through it, and the other thing about iridescence is they have an what they call a color shift in them. Depends how you look at them. So, sorry, Bert, I'm done. So.
Oh, okay. Am I up?
You're up, Bert.
Okay. The other day, somebody asked me if I could make a salt cellar, so I went one thing better, and I made a salt and pepper cellar. So these are for chefs, or when they're cooking, they can put their spices in here, and they got a swivel lid on them. They take about an hour and a half each, and it was just an exercise in how do you chuck something like that and get the holes absolutely dead center. They're just a fun little project. And somebody else asked for a herb stripper. So this is just basically a box with the side taken out. And the method of operation is you take your herbs and put the stem in one of the 4 holes that I drilled in there, and you pull the herb out, and all the leaves stay in the little bowl, and they can pestle and smash them up and use them. Just kitchen tools.
Nice.
That's all I got.
Nice. Anybody else?
So how did you line up your top and the holes and all so perfectly? Is there a trick?
What was that?
You said the trick was lining up the holes. What did you do to do that, or just drill them?
What
all
I
at
ended
the
up
same
doing
time?
to do that is I turned the box around to get the size, and then I put a square piece of wood and just friction fitted it in the chuck and turned it exactly the same as the box. And then I took masking tape and taped it. Then I took the whole chuck and everything to the drill press, and I drilled the hole through for the pin. So there's a stainless steel pin in here, and it sets proud about almost 1/4 of an inch, and it lines up in the hole. And then I just put a little plug. I took a deer antler plug and plugged the top of the hole so you couldn't see the steel. But that way, when I drilled it on the drill press, I drilled the hole about 1 inch down in the body, and they're perfectly lined up.
Right. Okay.
And then I could finish the top. While this was still taped onto the box, I could turn the top and put a little design on it, and then this piece was done.
You sure that was a deer antler? It looks to me like baking soda with CA glue.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, but no, it's deer antler. I've got a bunch of the deer antler parts, so that's what I put them on. I was thinking of trying to use a wood that would match it up, but I showed these to Stu, and he says, no, actually having that pin there, it lets you know which way the slide's going to go. So when they put it on their table or put it on their stove or by their stove, they'll know which way to push the lid if they can see where the pin is. So yeah, it's a happy accident.
All right, it's just a hollow form. We had turkey for New Year's. So what do you do with that nice mesh that the turkey comes wrapped in? Used it as a mask for airbrushing. I painted it first with iridescent, or not iridescent, pearlescent white. Put the mesh over it, and then just conglomerate of color that's red, purple, blue, and orange. And maybe yellow, I don't remember. When I first did it, I wasn't happy with the color palette, but it kind of grew on me, and now I kind of really like it.
Is that kind of like bluish in the center?
It's all over.
Okay.
It kind of all different. Not golden. I usually use golden. Createx. Createx airbrush paint. And I kind of really like the imperfections in it, where it's not just stretched perfect. I think that adds to it.
Do you have a final finish? Do you have a final finish on it?
No, it's just the paint.
Okay.
This one I layered the mesh and painted a color, layer, painted a color, layer, painted a color. Different look, kind of nice. So, torn between them.
So you didn't carve that, that's just paint?
That's all paint. It has a texture from the paint being sprayed over so many coats.
Is that airbrush?
Yes. The only way to paint. No way barreling here. I usually paint over a Carol. She don't like her airbrush. This is just a little hollow form. It's not finished yet. Made without hollowing tools. And if you want to see that, I could do a demo, but basically, if you got a feature ring, you cut it in half. Hollow each half and glue it together, and the feature ring hides the joint. So, that's what I brought.
Hollow form hides the joint.
You want it?
How many of those did you break?
What was it?
I've only broken 2 in my life.
This was cherry.
Yes.
That's pretty,
This one was box elder.
This is even thinner.
yeah.
Can't give your shit away.
This ornament, I do a lot of ornaments because I get a lot of sales. The first ornament that's hanging there is inside out turned out of 3 pieces of holly. And there's a hanging nativity scene in the as well that's embroidered both sides. And the finials top and bottom are made out of bloodwood, so it's a Christmas ornament which represents the birth of Christ, which is the holly, and the bloodwood represents his crucifixion. The holly, I met a man. In fact, Cindy Drozd is pretty good friends with the guy. I didn't know it until I met him. Went to his place. He used to cut wood all over the world. He'd take containers, buy containers, and cut wood all over the world, bring it back to Bethel, Pennsylvania, which is north of Myerstown, 501. And he cut it, and he built 2 large vacuum kilns. And the vacuum kilns were probably about the size of this room. So that's, I found out that he had some holly. So I went up, and he also told me some science about holly. Most people think that you got to cut holly in the wintertime to get it white. This is the purest white holly I've ever seen. He cut it any time of the year. There's a strip of holly trees that grow about from Bethel, Pennsylvania, almost down to the Mason-Dixon line, out about mid-state Pennsylvania. It's the same species of holly. Cut it any time, it's pure white. So that's that particular one. And this ornament, spalted sugar maple from the Stauffer Mansion in Lancaster. And the finials are Osage orange from the Conestoga Country Club. Most of the ornaments that I turn, in fact, 95% of all the ornaments I turn the wood comes from historical properties. And all the ornaments are hollow that I turn. They're about 1/8 of an inch thick. And I made a tool to hollow it out. So the hole in the top is only about, well, it's 1/4 inch because that's a drill that I drill in.
Very nice.
May I sit mine beside yours, Mike?
You mentioned that you sell those?
May I sit them beside yours?
You have a question?
Sir. Yes,
You mentioned that you sell those?
I do.
Can I ask what kind of a price range you get for those?
My inside-out turning with the embroidered or woven hanging nativity scene's $150.
And how about the hollow?
I'm sorry?
How about the other one?
The other one, it depends on the wood and where I get it and how old it is. I get anywhere from $45 to $75.
Very nice.
So this is kitchen theme. My wife needed a salt container for in the kitchen, so I made her a salt container. Just a piece of walnut that was laying around the shop, so something to do. It's the last piece I did on the lathe for a while.
What's with the weight?
Huh?
What's with the... just naturally?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's just, it was there. I don't know, like I said, it was just a piece that was laying in the corner of the shop. I picked it up and did that because I wanted to turn something because it's been a while. But been doing a few cutting boards because I was asked to. So I made a few. And now the neat thing about this is I did 2 of the geometric pattern 3D ones, and I did this one. And the nice part about doing that is now I have the leftovers from the cutting boards that I can now turn into bowls and using some epoxy and do some weird things with it.
Are those pieces all square so that it's just giving you the optical illusion of them being slightly round, or do they?
No, this is what they call the basket weave.
I understand that, but I was thinking that each of the basket looks like it's thinning down in the middle.
Are they rectangular, I guess?
Yeah, it's a rectangular.
Yeah, they're rectangular, but they're not the same size.
Okay.
The ones that go this way are either a little longer or a little shorter than the ones that go this way.
Yeah.
And I don't remember which is which.
It looks very much like the one that each one of those pieces was
Bowl
cut
shaped.
Bowl shaped
Yeah.
instead of straight.
No, they're square edges.
Okay, so it's an optical illusion.
Yeah.
So what's between?
So this is all of the squares or rectangular squares is all cherry. I had some lighter cherry and some darker cherry, and then in between is Paduke, and then the outside is Sapele. And I was making it, and then once I got everything together, the Sapele cracked on me in a few spots, so it turned into my cutting board. And
You're going to put a knife on that.
huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's all end grain, so it's no big deal.
That pattern all the way through?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you ever think about doing it like 6 inches thick and then just slicing it and getting 3 cutting boards out of it?
You
Do
could.
a big bandsaw.
Yeah.
I always see these guys online. They're making these cutting boards, 1 cutting board at a time. You can
Well,
make a really thick cutting board. Get a
yeah.
nice bandsaw and slice it.
You could, and well, I don't have a bandsaw big enough for that, but the local wood shop does.
Yeah, you would if you wanted to make 10 cutting boards.
Yeah, yeah. But it's a lot of glue, a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing them. They drove me crazy, and
I like how it has a little coppery look.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just mineral oil and wax. Is all that it is as far as the finish goes.
It was assembled like a checkerboard assembled, correct? I mean, where they are all
Very-
at once versus rows and columns. Did you glue up like a column?
So yeah, so basically to do these types of the end grain boards, what you do is you make sticks, and then you glue the sticks together into a flat spot, and then you cut them into. So this right here is one strip that I glued together. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I made 8 sticks, glued those 8 sticks together, and they were that long. And then you cut it down into this thickness, and then you glue them together. It's like segmented.
I see a demo coming on.
You know how he did the Julia Child thing? Yeah, that's a serious Julia Child's thing. But yeah, so that's kept me busy the last month or so.
I've got a question. This is not showing anything off other than if I would like some answers. So it's just rather simple. But I thought something like this would probably look better with texturing. Does that make sense? Does it not make sense?
If it makes sense to you, it makes sense.
The band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how would you do something like that?
But indeed, they also look at a texturing and wood turning on the internet and decide which one you like.
But what I'm trying to do is prompt for better answers so I can pick on someone and have them come up here and demonstrate. I need more demonstrators.
A texturing demo. Okay.
Yes, yes.
You can texture it, and then if you don't like it,
Turn it off.
turn it off.
Turn it on. Well, that's one other thing we could consider doing, if anyone would like to tell me how to get that done.
I'd put a leather band around that. I think that'd be cool.
All right. Well, I have not been turning for like several months because I had a total shoulder replacement. A couple of these things I had done before. The replacement I saw on TV or on YouTube, they were making square bowls. So I went ahead and tried to make a square bowl, and that's what that is. First attempt at a hollow form. This is not done yet because, again, I like to do texturing also. So I'm still trying to figure out some of the bits that I made. But this is just black walnut hollow form. And then I made this after watching Kelsey's box demonstration. I said I wanted to try to make a box. So just made a little box. And after I put the finish on it, it got a little tight. And what I did was I textured this with like a cut saw. And then I airbrushed it. That's about it.
That's pretty.
So I'm gonna have to do some more work on it, and like I say, I want to do the texturing here with some of the bits that I bought at the symposium. I still can't get those to work, Thomas.
Gotta bring them over, man.
I'm gonna bring them over because I want to texture this with the little round bits.
So you
that's
mean
what
that with the
they look like little balls.
yeah.
But I can't get. I've tried it. All I can get is out of it is smoke.
With the cuppers. Oh, well, the cuppers will smoke. That's what they do.
Yeah.
But it's because of the way, did you grind them? Did you regrind them?
I did, and it's still not working. Maybe I did them wrong.
Bring them over.
I'll do that. So that's it.
Nice.
Thank you.
Can I recommend that you talk to Curtis about texturing? I think you just.
Yeah, so you're gonna do a demo.
No, I need someone to perform a demo, someone who's done it before. Look, have you done that?
I did that one.
Oh.
You could do the demo and have people come up and do the texturing for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
So
That's a great idea.
Is there anything else?
Do you do the embroidery too?
No, a friend of mine does it.
That's
Or
nice.
did it. She passed.
Really nice.
Yeah.
We have a challenge in the Lehigh Club to turn a three-sided bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've been turning them for a little while. So this is my last one I did. This is cherry with rattle can lacquer on it. I think the biggest thing is to make sure you can keep the consistency all the way around. And that's the tough part. I was very happy with this one because I've made 5 or 6 of them. Then I decided, this is made from a perfect cube. So I think it was 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. So everything's got to be perfect, and then it all comes out that way.
Bill,
So-
can we see the inside of the bowl? Can you hold it up?
Real nice.
I like to pass them around, so.
That doesn't hold as many M&Ms as a.
No.
You can just scoop them right in.
Yeah, scoop.
So then the question is, what if you made it longer? Could you get one side to be higher than the other? Well, that's not the way it is. It comes out with two sides higher than the other. So now I'm not going to try
You
it.
just gotta flip it around.
Making it smaller. So, but then again, this is where it fell apart, and one side is extremely thin here. And you can do a little correction on the belt sander very carefully, but if you haven't made the thickness the same, it shows like hell. So this is my first one made this way. I wouldn't normally show it, but it's kind of shows you mistakes you learn from your mistakes. So
When you're chucking these up, you're chucking on the points.
yes,
Do you just jam them in there?
I go with a hollow that's like this end here,
Okay.
and then on my live center I have a hollow on there. I know some people put points in and stuff. I don't. I go between two openings.
Okay, because I have a block, and that's my next project, was trying to do that.
You go slowly, and you get in, and you make the chucking part first.
Yeah.
And then you get that in your chuck, and then you feel a lot safer. But still keep the tail stuck.
Okay, so then when you finish off the bottom, you just jam check?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted this one to be a big, like a half a baseball, because we're on such a long angle, there was nothing left. I kept turning and turning, and that's what I ended up with. I couldn't get it any bigger. It just screamed for a baseball on the bottom of it. But, that's what I'm stuck
When you
with.
said turn, you mean that you have a cone, sort of stick the 3 points in a cone
Yeah.
on each side?
I used right in the headstock, just like that is
okay.
there, that
Okay.
hole.
Same
And
sort of
then,
thing.
and then on the tailstock, I can take the center out. There's a smaller hole.
Okay.
And you just really.
I keep them tight, and you make nice and easy cuts until you get it in the chuck.
Okay.
And you keep your fingers back, because there's a lot of.
And don't smile.
Yeah, there's a lot of sharp corners and whack your knuckles.
I didn't see any blood on the end of that.
That's sandpaper.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I hurt myself trying to
Is that it? Anyone else have?
I got just something quick. It's not really, I never finished it, but it's a thin piece of box elder that I was going to use my Trent Bosch hollowing thing to do, but I figured no, it's too small. It's not worth that. So it's fairly thin. I got marks in the bottom, but I think I'm going to vacuum chuck it again and
Sand them out.
sand them out. Well, I did try to sand them out, but it didn't. Clearly, I didn't sharpen my sandpaper. But it also turns out to be a last-minute collaboration with Angelo, because we call it Mr. Bob Emerging.
Like Mr. Bill.
Or Mr. Bill Emerging, that's what
There
it
you
is.
go.
Yeah, Mr. Bill.
Blood on that one.
Yeah, right. Anyhow.
Take a piece of sandpaper and glue it onto a dowel.
Yeah, well, I can get in there
Oh, okay.
pretty easily.
Yeah, but it's easier on the fingers.
True.
I actually made for doing deep forms like that,
Yeah.
I made a cone shape and put a 2-inch piece of sandpaper on the bottom of it, so I could actually have it like a sanding pad, but with a longer neck on it than they use, so you could get in that sort of shape.
I mean, I have a 2-inch piece of disc that'll go in there.
No, I meant for the shaft on it.
Oh.
I extended the shaft. It wasn't 2-inch diameter. It was the length of the shaft.
Oh, I got you.
So you could stay well away and then go around that without necessarily.
You mean inside of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just.
Anyhow.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a good idea. I was just making a comment and use that shaft because normally the drill is right up against the sanding disc. Yeah. Against the chuck, so that makes it awkward. So
That's
just
true.
something to extend the chuck.
Hey, John.
Sir.
Hunter makes a set of offset tools perfect for that.
That's what Angelo said when I was
I
talking to
don't
him
believe
about
it.
it, same
But
thing.
they're carbide, and his carbide is really good.
Really?
It is.
Looks like I have another package showing up at my house.
Yeah.
My wife says, "What's this package?"
What's
You
the
can make
brand?
the opening smaller.
What was the brand name?
There's
That'll be the next one.
Well, just like you went about it the wrong way. You're worried about how you sand the inside.
Yeah,
Make the opening so small no one can stick their finger in there. You don't need to sand the inside.
Or I can do what Mike did.
Yeah, true, cheat.
Cheat. Just cheat. So there's no other show and tell, I think. Is that correct? I just want to go over some last minute business. We talked over the past month or so, I think just last month, about naming this shop after Ben Kaufman. And the two suggestions that I've had so far that I've heard, Ben Kaufman turned woodworking studio. The other is wood turning workshop. Maybe
Ben's bungalow.
Ben's bungalow, could be Ben's bungalow. Maybe by next meeting, it'd be nice if folks could bring, give it some thought and bring some suggestions, and we can vote on it, because we talked to Kyle about it, and Kyle is actually, he thinks it's a good idea. There was some concern that because Ben was such a quiet fellow, that maybe he would not want that. Kyle says he thinks he would have loved it, and Kyle likes the idea. So
should be on your side.
I think workshop is better than studio. Workshop fits Ben.
Yeah, so I agree. But, I thought we should put it out to the club just to see if there's any other suggestions that hadn't thought about bungalow, that's for sure. There's nothing wrong with it.
Because no one's as creative. John.
No.
I talked to Ben's daughter, and he said her comment was, quiet does not necessarily mean reserved.
True.
True. So he really likes that sort of glitz and everything like that. So that's when she said, yeah, name it whatever you want. He'll be pleased, because he may be quiet, but that doesn't mean he doesn't.
And then we'll have to figure out how we put a sign up that's sort of in honor of Ben as well. Also, I'd like people to think about who might volunteer to be on a special events committee. There's really only 2 or 3 things a year. The first is the picnic. Second is Music Fest. We didn't do it this past year because I got sick and I hadn't really gotten a group together. So I canceled because I got sick and couldn't set it up. So if folks are interested in helping on those 2 things, I'd love to have some volunteers maybe identified so that there's a little bit of time to prepare. It's not that much work to do, frankly. I've got a list of supplies that we need for each of them. So there's a bit of a head start. Curtis has asked this multiple times, but what people would like to see, not only if you would like to demo, but what people here would like to see demonstrated. So give that some consideration, and you can either send it to Tom or Curtis or me, whatever, or bring it to the next meeting. Curtis has already got several things lined up following here. We've got some other ideas. And then lastly, Barry, I think the lady still would like some Ikebana bases, correct?
Yeah.
So that's not passe. It's still an active request that people would like to turn Ikebana bases. Ongoing. It's an ongoing thing. And I think Barry has the template that you need for the little Ikebana stainless steel.
You can email me, I have it.
You have it?
And I can
Tom
send it
has
out.
So, and if there's any other business that people have, please let us know. And before I forget, Tim, thank you very much. It was a terrific demo.
My 2 partners, if you want the blanks, I do have patterns. Before, and if they don't, anybody can take them. I do have a few other hedgehog patterns for 2-inch chucks, 50mm chucks. If you're interested, gingerbread, cookie, the pig, they're all here. So better that somebody takes them than they go into my recycling bin.
Well, don't take them home if you're not going to use them, and they don't disappear tonight. They will over time.
Okay. Yeah, these could end up in the fireplace.
Well, not those 2. No.
We have a volunteer back there from the music fest. He was singing.
What's that?
He's somebody in the back was singing. I go, that's your volunteer.
Your volunteer. That's great. So thank you again, Tim and Curtis, for setting it up. And we'll see everybody. An open shop.
I got a comment if I can.
Saturday, the 14th.
Someone has an online comment.
I got a comment for you guys. Somebody was mentioning about the winged bulls. If you take a look at, I just posted up a picture. I had to go find the picture, but I did a couple of demonstrations on turning winged boxes and winged bulls. And if you can see on there, I've got a 3D printed piece of plastic that fits into a standard chuck, and that centers the corner perfectly centered. And so I took one of the same little plastic pieces and mounted it in like a cup chuck, but I just carved it out and glued it in. So now that perfectly centers any corners, perfectly centered. You don't have to fiddle around to get it into a round hole. It just fits in perfectly, and you squeeze it together, and Bob's your uncle, and away you go.
So you're gonna mass produce those for the club?
I've made a whole bunch of those, but anybody that's got a 3D printer, I've got the STL file, and it's really, really simple, and they fit a standard 50 millimeter chuck, and it just makes it so easy to do cubes. Anyway, that's all I had.
Thank you, Bert. Thanks, Bert.
Yeah.
Hey, Bert, Doug here. Send me one of those
Yep.
files. Do you have my email?
Yes, I do. I think I have it. We've been communicating before, so I'm pretty sure I do.
Could you send me one of those, whatever you call them, for 3D printer file?
Yeah, the STLs, sure, I can do that. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
You have a 3D printer?
So I think that
If you guys want me to do a demo for doing winged boxes, I've got winged boxes that I do all out of that cube that's on there right now. That ends up being a wing. I don't have a winged box on my desk, but that whole thing has all the parts to do a winged box, and it's kind of fun. It gets a little scary once in a while. Things come off the lathe, but I think I've only launched one or two. But yeah, in the future, if you want.
One of the other things you can do with that cube is you can actually make a perfect sphere out of that cube without putting anything in the thing, because now we're using it between centers, and I've done this just recently. Putting it between centers, you can rotate it and make the cube without having to have any other chucking on it, and the centers work for the rest of the cube. So I'm actually going to demonstrate that for another club in March.
What you can do with this too, because it's perfectly centered, you can turn the radius on either side, so you get basically the cube, and then turn it sideways in cup chucks and get rid of the points.
Well, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and that works. That's it's fun.
Reinventing the cube, as it were.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, we could make it back into a cube again, I guess, if you really wanted to.
So the circle gets the square.
Pardon?
Circle gets the square.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Thank you, Bert.
Thanks, Bert.
So I think we're done. We'll see some folks hopefully on Open Shop on the 14th, and everybody else next month.
Stay warm.
Stay warm, yeah.